In this half hour, we are going to begin with what, Robin, you had a very powerful interview, and you wanted to share with Bachelor star Colton Underwood. We all remember him from his season with Cassie, the two ultimately ending their relationship, and now he has some news he'd like to share.
That's what people remembered him most about, his relationship with Cassie. But Colton and I sat down for a deeply personal conversation about something that's been weighing on him for a very long time. Like so many, this past year was a time of deep reflection. Colton, thank you for this opportunity to sit down with you. Is there something that you want people to know? So can you tell us what is on your heart that you want to share?
Yeah. Obviously, like, this year's been a lot for a lot of people, and it's probably made a lot of people look themselves in the mirror and figure out who they are and what they've been running from or what they've been putting off in their lives. And for me, I've ran from myself for a long time. I've hated myself for a long time, and I'm gay, and I came to terms with that earlier this year and have been processing it. And the next step in all of this was sort of letting people know. Still nervous, but yeah, it's been a journey for sure.
Through the nerves, I can see the joy. I can see the relief.
I mean, I'm emotional, but I'm emotional in like such a good, happy, positive way. I'm like the happiest and healthiest I've ever been in my life, and that means the world to me. And yeah.
What was that moment like for you that gave you the courage to speak your truth as you are today?
I got into a place for me in my personal life that was dark and bad, and I can list a bunch of different things, but they'd all be excuses. But I think overall the reason why now is because I got to a place where I didn't think I was ever going to share this. I would have rather died than say I'm gay. And I think that was sort of my wake-up call.
Did you ever think about harming yourself?
Yeah. There was a moment in LA that I woke up and I didn't think I was going to wake up. I didn't have the intentions of waking up, and I did. And I think for me that was like my wake-up call. I'm like, this is your life. Take back control. And I think looking back even beyond that is like even just suicidal thoughts and, you know, driving my car close to a cliff, like, oh, if this goes off the cliff, it's not that big of a deal. I don't feel that anymore.
The former Bachelor walking in his truth, while also realizing that his fans and the women he dated on the show may have questions. So many people were cheering you on and wanting you to find love, and now they may feel that you misled the public and misled those women from that season.
Yep.
How do you address people who feel that way?
I would understand why they think that way. And I mean, I thought a lot about this too, of do I regret being the Bachelor, and do I regret handling it the way that I did? I do. I do think I could have handled it better. I'll say that.
How so?
I just wish I wouldn't have dragged people into my own mess of figuring out who I was. I genuinely mean that. But I also, at the same time, but I can sit here and say I'm sorry to all of those women. I can also say thank you, because without them and without the Bachelor franchise, I don't know if this would have ever came out.
Colton also sharing a message for Cassie, the woman he jumped the fence for on The Bachelor.
Colton! Open the fence, guys, open the fence.
Their relationship ending tumultuously last year. Cassie filing and then dropping a restraining order against him.
I would like to say sorry for how things ended. I messed up. I made a lot of bad choices.
Were you in love with Cassie?
Yes. I mean, and that only made it harder and more confusing for me. If I'm being very honest, I loved everything about her. And it's hard for me to articulate exactly what my emotions were in going through that relationship with her was, because I obviously had an internal fight going on. I would just say that I'm sorry from the bottom of my heart. I'm sorry for any pain and emotional stress I caused. I wish it wouldn't have happened the way it did. I wish that I would have been courageous enough to fix myself before I broke anybody else.
A weight now lifted as he steps into his full self after a lifelong personal battle with his sexuality, a truth he previously denied.
I literally remember praying to God the morning I found out that I was a bachelor and thanking him for making me straight. I remember that vividly, of saying, like, finally you're letting me be straight. Finally you're giving me a wife, a fiance, and then I'm gonna have the kids, and then I'm gonna have the house, and then I'm gonna have all this. I've known that I've been different since the age of 6. And I couldn't process it, and I couldn't put my finger on what it was until high school, my freshman year, when I knew I was gay. And by that time, I had already grown up in the Catholic Church. I have gone to Catholic grade school. I had learned in the Bible that gay is a sin. I had made mistakes in my sports and in my athletic career, and when you make mistakes, that play was gay, or that was a bad. Gay was always affiliated with a connotation of negativity, and I think there's a lot of things when I look back, I'm like, no wonder I held it in.
Some of the people that you've told are the very people that, as you said, like you played football with, or friends who used a negative term about being gay, and when you came out to them, what was the response from them?
You know, I've had sort of a range of responses, and the most common one was almost like, I wish you would have told me sooner. And when I hear that, I wish I would have had faith in my friends and my family a little bit more. My dad, I told him, and his reaction was sort of the same, like, I wish you would have trusted me sooner. But then he followed it up with, how can I help you? How can I help take this off your plate? Who can I tell? And like, to me, that was more meaningful than I love you. The only reason I'm sitting down with you today is because I have the love and the support of my friends and my family.
And his dad was there for our interview yesterday, sharing every emotion with his son, saying how proud he is of him. And, you know, for him to admit, like, he's not trying to make any excuses for his behavior. He said anything, he could say things, but it would just be seen as excuses. But he flat out said that he should have been courageous enough to fix himself before he broke anybody else and before dragging other people into, as he put it, his mess. But 2020,
I've really sincerely absorbed all those lessons.
yeah, he's really taken the time, George, and owning up to it, and to have the family support, because that's not that way for everyone, especially coming from football and his Catholic background and all of that.
And can you imagine how tough it was for him to come out and do it publicly with you? So I'm courageous, and my hat's off to him for that.
And he has much more that he wants to share, and we'll have more of the interview with Colton in our next hour. Thank you, gentlemen. But now we're going to see our GMA cover story, more of our exclusive with the Bachelor star, Colton Underwood, finally admitting to the world, and more importantly to himself, the truth about his sexuality, how it has impacted his relationship with God, and what he would say to others about speaking their truth.
I'm still the same Colton everybody met on TV. I'm still the same Colton to my friends and my family. I just happen to be able to share with people now all of me, and I am proud of that. You know, I am proud to be gay.
For former Bachelor Colton Underwood, the journey of defining and embracing who he is has not been easy.
One thing about being labeled the Virgin Bachelor is I fully was a virgin before that, and I could never give anybody a good enough answer of why I was a virgin. The truth is, I was a Virgin Bachelor because I was gay, and I didn't know how to handle it.
When you're not living your full self, and you're always, like, not necessarily on guard, but there's a heaviness to it. How did you manage that?
I didn't manage it well. I put myself in really bad situations on purpose. I put myself in these situations so I could try to force myself to be straight. I still would say thank you for making me the Bachelor, but we got there in a roundabout way of, like, finally I am healthy, but I am healthy and happy because of moments like that.
Were there specific things that you were able to do this past year to help you get to this point?
I bought a home in Denver. I settled down there. I have my family there. I got closer to God this year, and I know even saying that now as a gay man, people can be like, how is that even possible? And it's like, I don't think unless you understand. I used to wake up in the morning and pray for him to take the gay away. I used to pray for him to change me, and I can now wake up and pray to God, and I can actually have faith, and I can go into church and be present, not have it be conditional on this topic of take this off my plate and I'll still worship you and I'll still be there. You know, it's more, I'm closer to him, and that's helped, to be honest with you.
Colton says he knew he was different when he was 6 years old. What was it that made you, at that tender age, think that you were different?
When I was around other people, I just felt different. And I didn't know what that meant. And I didn't know, like, am I more emotional than the other boys in my class? That's a lot of thinking to do at such a young age, of like trying to figure out what that was. And then in high school, it all made sense. I mean, I was more attracted to boys and the men than I was the women and the females. And I was always told by society, that's wrong, don't do that.
Today, Colton knows he's free to love who he wants and is taking it day by day. What are you looking for? What are you looking for in a partner?
I still have a lot to work through, and I'll just go on record saying, like, I still haven't had like an emotional connection with a man. I've never allowed myself to, and it's never been sort of in my cards to let myself get there, and I want to more than anything, and I'm looking for someone who can push me and challenge me in all the great ways.
There's probably a young person, probably maybe a young football player, who's listening to you. What do you say to somebody, anyone, who is struggling to speak their truth as you did?
I still have a long ways to go. I'm still learning. But if I had to go back and give anybody advice, I mean, you're gonna get through it, is what I would tell myself. Keep fighting for you, keep choosing you every morning. And when the time's right and you're ready, do it on your own time.
And that's exactly what Colton has done. And I got to tell you, I spent a little bit over an hour with him yesterday. And the difference between when I first saw him and when I said goodbye, just again, the relief of speaking his truth, of expressing himself, giving the reasons why, God, church, and football. Mm-hmm. And I shared with him something that my mother said when I told her about my sexuality, that I'm gay. And she said, God loves you because of who he is, not because of anything you do or don't do. Mm. And that is something that a lot of Christian gays struggle with. When you say that people look to you and say, how can you be a Christian and how can you be gay? And that's part of the reason why Colton was so reluctant
well, it seems to
come forward.
make him a stronger Christian according to his own testimony.
Yes, now he says he's more present when he's in church. It has helped him, and he had that stronger relationship. But I appreciated the fact that, and I didn't want to do it on Zoom. I wanted to do this conversation in person like we did. And you can see more of my conversation with Colton tonight on Nightline here on ABC. Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.